we are all looking for the same things. We're all looking for that little piece of contentment. I think it was Sadhguru. He said we're all looking for the same thing, whether you're going to a church or a mosque or you're going to a bar. Do you know what I mean? You're trying to fill that hole that you have inside of you with something. And I think we're all looking for contentment. You know, it might be financial gain. It might be a spiritual gain. Do you know what I mean? It might be, you know, you want to have nice things. You're trying to fill a hole inside of you. And people do this in different ways. But I was thinking recently, after I did my sacred secretion, and I said about it in a video actually, but in the sacred secretion video, I said how I felt so much joy that when I was talking to some friends, like I felt so happy that I just started crying. It's quite mad. But it got me thinking, because that feeling it's the exact same feeling that I felt when my son was born. And he came into the world and I just was overwhelmed and I just started fucking crying. Another time I had that is when I was younger, my dad bought me a basketball hoop for my birthday. And I was so overwhelmed with joy that I started crying. It's the exact same feeling. So there's only one type of each emotion, if you know what I mean. Anger is anger. It doesn't matter if somebody ran into your car on the road or somebody bumped into you in the street. It's all the same anger. And joy is the same joy. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if your son's just been born, or do you know what I mean? If you felt something spiritual and you felt that joy, or you just fucking bought a new car, you know? It got me thinking, imagining yourself into your dream life and, you know, what you want for yourself, and feeling that you have what you already want. And if you have felt that feeling of joy before, then all you have to do is feel it, if you know what I mean. Joy is joy. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. If you can feel joy for anything, then you can feel joy for the thing that you desire as if you already have it. I got a lot of this from Neville Goddard. He was like, this guy, he was around like, I think it was like the 30s and 40s, and there's loads of old tapes of him online and old recordings and stuff on YouTube. And I'd suggest you go check him out. He's written loads of books as well. One of them being Imagination and the Bible, which basically, you know, getting into the allegory again and in believing, you know, the idea that the Bible doesn't really mean what it says it means. It's, you know, it's kind of code, if you will, for some other things, or group of things. For me, it's talking about the sacred secretion, and it's also talking about the imagination process. And I really got deep into that after I started learning more about Neville Goddard and reading all of his books and stuff like that. It's the only concept of the Bible that really, really made sense to me after reading it and listening to him. So that changed my whole sort of perspective on religion. But yeah, if you can feel joy for one thing, and you've ever felt joy, you can feel the joy for the thing that you already want to desire. Now, when you're doing this, you want to use all of your senses. So let's just say, and I've done this before, you have a dream car that you want. Another thing that I did is this was like a few years ago, I went into a Mercedes dealership, and I spoke to them. I sat down at the desk with this lady, and we spoke about the car that I wanted to get, and I picked out all the colour, all the interior. I got a price for it, and this was a finance price though, so like it was like a 5,000 deposit, and then I figured out it'd be like £1,000 a month. I mean, ideally, I would want to buy it cash, but when you think, you know, they depreciate so much over time, it's kind of not worth paying 100 grand in cash for a car when you're going to lose 60% of it probably as soon as you drive it off the showroom. It's worth financing a car. That's my opinion. But anyway, I sat down at the desk and we went through the whole fucking spec of the car. Do you know what I mean? I picked the wheels, like the tyres, the interior, the trim. But then after that, when I've imagined myself into this car, I imagine what my hands will feel like on the steering wheel. What does the car smell like? You know, like that new car smell. It's a bit like new trainer smell. Do you know what I mean? You always remember that smell. What does the car smell like? I imagine my fingers like running over the badge of the car and literally feeling the contours of the car with my fingers. Do you know what I mean? Feeling the smooth paintwork on my fingertips. You know, what does the horn sound like? Maybe you sat in it and just beep the horn. Or what does the engine sound like? So when you're imagining yourself into these things, use all of your senses. Make it as vivid as possible. And you can apply that to anything that you want to achieve. It all starts in the mind. You know, everything starts with a single thought. And it's not manifesting. People just call it that, but it's really not. It's just understanding the process, that it's your mind that does things first, and then everything else all happens after that. You know, the universe or whatever will conspire to make things happen for you. If you pay attention, you'll hear people talking about this process all the time, but they just don't know that it's what it is, if that makes any sense. I was listening to a First Man video yesterday. I forget what it was called, but he was talking about when he moved to Thailand, and you know, he sat down and he wrote out in detail all of his goals, you know, what he wanted to do, how he wanted to spend his time, how much money he wanted to be making, the sort of people that he wanted to be around with, you know, the sort of people he wanted to network with, the sort of places he would go to eat and whatnot. And then after that, everything has obviously fallen into place. Obviously, as well, you have to take action for these things. You have to do things. You can't just, you know, have a desire for something, imagine yourself doing it, and then not do anything and expect it to just materialize. It's not going to work like that. You actually have to take action. But manifesting is real, I'm telling you. It's not manifesting this widely, you know, it's not what it is widely believed to be, but it is fucking real. And it does work. It works every single day. You just don't even know you're doing it. So yeah, getting back to the crux of the video, joy is joy, anger is anger, pain is pain. If you've experienced these things before, then you know the feeling that you need to feel. So always be aware of your thoughts, what you're thinking about, because what you think about tends to start fucking happening. So you don't want to be having negative thoughts all the time. I used to do this all the time as well when I was smoking weed and stuff. I'd be like playing over fucking negative scenarios in my head, shit that wasn't real, shit that hasn't even happened yet. Do you know what I mean? Or I'd be thinking about a situation and then all the possible domino effects of that situation. It's not good. So you need to feel as positive as possible all the time. And I know I fucking go on about training all the time, but it's what it is. It's the first, if you want to change the way you feel to feel positive all the time, physical training and diet is probably the first port of call. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of, the first domino in that fucking series that you can knock down that will then have a lot of other knock-on effects to your mental health and complete well-being. So yeah, keep imagining, keep staying positive, keep working on yourself and making sure that you can feel as good as you possibly can every single day.